Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Four Letter Nerd, a Hyro Geeks Unlimited production, and our final fantasy episode. See what I did there? But final fantasy themed episode. And today we're going to be talking about our favorites. Joining me tonight are my two favorites, Ra the Sun God and Mayhem Mike, with their pseudonyms of I don't remember how to pronounce them, so we're just gonna let them introduce themselves. So how about you first, Ra? Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, I am named after the main character of one of my picks tonight, Kavoth. Kavoth. Look, this is a name I've only read in the book. Nobody else has said it out loud but myself and my best friend. And this is how
I wonder why. K-Man. All right. K-Man.
Fine. I'm Kavoth the K-Man.
All right. All right. So I'm gonna take the shine away for you. I am a combination of Smeagol and Smegma.
Oh,
A combination nobody asked for.
nobody.
Got him.
Nobody.
I don't want to get sued.
I hope that you Google that word one day
I did. I
and
know it is.
and realize the
I'm
chaos that you're causing right now.
I'm just having fun.
Right? Look, already.
2 minutes
Already.
in. 2 minutes in.
Love it.
Just started.
I was startled to see only myself on the screen, so thank you for that, gentlemen.
You're welcome.
I had no part in that.
But as I said already, this is our final episode of Fantasy Month. I'm kind of bummed to see this at an end because I've been really loving. I love fantasy series. I love any fantasy series, really, as long as it's written well.
Yes.
But we are going to be talking about our favorites, so we're going to end on a high note. So I would like to start with Smeggle.
Got him. Okay. All right.
Please tell me some of your favorite fantasy things.
All right, let's start off with the maestro in the back. Cue my records, please. Let's do this.
Spin the DJ up. Spin the DJ up.
So in no particular order, I have The Witcher. The reason why I chose The Witcher as one of the series that was not only in a book first that came to TV, it's because it's been really dope. Henry Cavill, you'll forever be our Superman. We really do think you're the best. I'm just gonna leave it like that. No, you've been a really good Superman. We wish you do get some more play. There's rumors abound that you may be coming in the Black Adam movie. There are rumors, obviously, but you have really brought the Witcher character into life. I'm enjoying it. The games have been out for such a long time, and I've just looked at them like, eventually. And now, because of your performance, and not just you, but everybody else's, the other actors and actresses there, it was amazing. Like, it's amazing. I'm so invested in the world. I want to see what it builds up to. I want to know about more of the Witcher and his deadly poison and the guild. And I think, honestly, if you ask me, season 2 was probably the best for me, especially the ending. Although season 1's theme song, toss a coin to your Witcher, Valley of Valley of Plenty. I think it's still a hit. I mean, season 2 had a really dope song too, but like it's iconic. So
this was a serious contender for me, so I'm glad that you chose it because it did not make my list, but by this missed it by this much.
Hey,
hi Ryan.
Oh, sorry. Hi Ryan. I thought it was Ray. Excuse me.
It is
Ray. I said Rayanne.
You said right. Well, you know what? It doesn't matter. Hi, Mrs. C. So yeah, The Witcher was definitely one that I'm pretty sure I gave him more photos. That was definitely one of my favorites. The transformation for, is she called the sorceress? I forgot her name right now.
Yennefer
Vangerberg.
Let me tell you, especially in season 1, that character development was so beautiful. It was so. I wish you were able to stretch it out in the second season a little bit more, but it was amazing. And that was like really dope fantasy for me. And that look at Henry Cavill. Look at this buff guy. It's weird ramen noodle hair, but it's this buff guy. At least he doesn't have a mustache here,
I
right?
have to say that first season at the end, as he and Siri are kind of working their way to each other and you're going backwards and forwards in
Mm.
time, it really kept you invested. And I thought that it was smart of them not to repeat that with the second season. They did
Yes.
it for season one, it worked beautifully there. They moved on for it. This is such a solid show. I'm really
Yes.
looking forward to whatever they put out. But that scene at the end when Siri and Witcher finally come together, that was like a like, even if we never got another season, what a beautiful way to end that. But I'm so glad that we got more seasons,
I
Right.
will also say I
though.
think they handle the side stories really well, especially in
Yes,
season 2. You know what I'm saying? Like there's other stories going around and other things that he's doing, and it kind of ties in into the main story, but also it's just like we're expanding the universe. It's not about a certain children. There's not necessarily a love romance. Like all the
right.
tropes are kind of like being challenged. He
And
looks like my
also
ex-husband.
every and everyone that's cast is so solid that you end up getting
Yes.
invested in people's stories that don't even make
Yes.
it out that first episode, or the one episode that they appear in. You
Yes.
Right.
sincerely care about these people, and that's so hard when we're so oversaturated with not only fantasy but just content in general. For something like this to stand out and continue to like raise its own bar, they're setting themselves up really high for season 3, but I fully believe that they're going to deliver.
Mia, don't get yourself in
Mia's
trouble.
fighting for her life in the comments.
Don't get yourself in trouble. The man is in the next room. You know what? Let's just skip to the next one.
I'm right
Moving
here.
on, moving
Let's
on, moving on.
let's save her from herself. The Game of Thrones from
Season
season
one through
1.
seven.
You know it. You know it. I was about to say 1 to 7 was probably the best adapted book fantasy that I've seen to show. And I understand some people will not say that. I said some people will disagree and whatnot. You're wrong, but you're still allowed to be able to exist in this world, so it's okay. We don't talk about character development. I was team Arya before it was cool. You know what I'm saying? It started off slow. Season 1 started off really slow, and I think at like the second to last episode, it picked up. And then we got so many great moments, like the red wedding. Like, oh, it was just back to back, and just like the characters. And then it became less about dragons and even the zombies that were coming initially, and more about like who is going to. I'm not going to curse this one time. I'm going to say who is going to rear end somebody else in so many different ways, and how is this going to affect the whole country. You know, it was dope. Great pacing, great characters, believability. And the thing about this show is that you had to pay attention because sometimes they gave you the answer. They said, look, we showed you this. Why are you surprised it's in
There
episode
is a lot
10?
of foreshadowing,
Yes.
absolutely.
Also, I will say one of the best moments of this show, 1 to 7, was when we found out why Hodor says
Um,
Hodor.
Door.
Oh
Right.
my! I don't think anything tops that. I really don't think anything tops that. Khaleesi's dragons hatches, fire. No, no, no. Hodor. And you find out, and he's like, yo, he's stuck in a time-space continuum. What?
and the memes about how that translated to different
Yeah.
languages was
Oh.
hilarious because it does not make sense in any other language except for English. Abuela la puerta, Hodor. What?
That's not right.
For me,
Mhm.
having watched it after it had already finished, so I got to binge it, and I did not live the way most people did of, watching per episode and with the new seasons come out. And also as someone who's read the book several times, I had a hard time getting into this series because I had read the book several times and nobody looked or sounded or acted the way that they were solidly in my head.
Okay.
However, for what it was, I see why, and because I'm not trying to gatekeep it. I'm not one of those, well, the books are better. Like, they're two completely different entities, and that's how we should view them. The show itself absolutely was entertaining. I hate that the writers pooped the
Exited
bed.
the way they did.
Yeah,
Exited the way they
pooped the
did.
bed at the
Yes.
end because they were already looking ahead to other projects instead of finishing this out on a high note and
Right.
rushing development in that last season that should have taken another 2 seasons at least to fully flesh out in a way that would make sense.
Mhm.
But again, high fantasy. There were some really badass scenes in there. You did truly care. I ship the whole Stark family, Sasha and Arya when they took down Littlefinger. That to me was like the pinnacle.
You know what?
Get the comeuppances that came about leading into that last season, and even including like the first couple episodes of that last season. Arya at House Frey. Are you kidding me?
I think a lot of people,
Woo!
for the
The
most
North remembers. Hell
the
yeah.
members, I think a lot of people were rooting for the Stark family, to an extent.
I
But
love that that's the picture of Joffrey. Look,
come on, that
what
was
does
a dope
everybody
scene.
else's
That is his
picture?
iconic scene.
But like you can see, well, some people are battered, but yeah, Theon Greyjoy. Oh my god, I'm sorry, sir, but yeah, no, this was amazing. This was an amazing series for me, 1 to 7. And I can understand why people may have not necessarily connected with it if they read the book and whatnot, but it was still great until season 8. Season 8 is just like I had to turn my TV on brightness. This doesn't make any sense. What's going on? And then let's move on.
I love that description though.
The possessed army thing.
Yes, yes.
And they hit that big ice ball thingy. That's literally called the wall, babe. It's literally called the wall.
So I kind of cheated with this one. All right.
This is fantasy.
It
I would
is.
consider this fantasy.
So
I do too.
I kind of cheated with this one. I still love it nonetheless. I even love Legend of Korra. I do think Legend of Korra is a lot is slept on a little bit more, and I think like the writing, because it seemed like every other episode was going to be the last, or the way they kind of like didn't have enough time to work on it was just whatever. It could have been so much better, but it's still a great series. But since this came first and it wowed everybody, I want you to understand the impact it had. If you are above the age of 30 and you consider yourself to be a thug, remember Confessions by Usher? That
Yeah.
album had every thug in a chokehold. Yes, it just like this was amazing to see Aang grow into like a responsible adult for his age, and also learning the history. Avatar Kyoshi was everybody's favorite, and you know what?
Yo.
I can understand. They said Avatar Kyoshi's weapon should have been a gun.
Bro, she was about that life. Kyoshi was about that life.
Or
Is this your continent? Stop.
yeah.
Have an
Or
island.
her
Bye.
spirit animal should have been a gun, but she was about that life and making sure everything was dope. If I'm not mistaken, that's Roku, the second to last before Aang.
Yes.
Roku's story was a little bit deeper than I had originally thought. It was so much more intertwined. Fire Lord Ozai was dope. I'm not gonna lie, but I could easily look over him for Zuko's sister. I mean,
She was nuts.
she went nuts, but she was probably the best fighter, and she stood out so much. And then like what she did, and that's how you have a great villain, when they can kind of take away, because every time she fought Aang, you were like, oh, how is Aang going to get out of this one? Not like how is Aang's going to beat her, how he's going to get
away.
Right.
He needs to run. And well, one of those times did not work well.
Yes.
At all.
In the cave, yes. In the Cave of Wonders.
Yeah.
I am a Toph stan through and through.
Mhm.
Nobody to me tops that little earthbender. I don't even know what words to use without being like
sassy. She
is
sassy.
Sassy.
Yeah,
I love her.
When she makes one of her own impairment.
Oh, when they were like, "Oh, we can't see," she's like, "Oh
no!" She's like, "Oh no, I didn't see it."
Yes.
It's like, bruh.
She's like, I'm pretty sure this looks great.
She's a savage.
Tough.
I love Toph. And as far as Korra is concerned, I think once I got past the first season of kind of my disappointment of these are how Aang's kids turned out.
Right? Right?
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it after that. But I kind of wish that I would rather have not seen Aang's kids than seen them like this.
To me, it made sense, because if you brought peace about the world, the war and that calamity wouldn't be as big. They messed up really quickly because what was that waterbender's name that in the first season?
I don't remember. It's been
one?
A while.
The North Tribe or the South Tribe?
Legend of Korra, the actual villain.
Oh, that guy, the waterbender. Yeah, that was taking
Yeah,
everyone's.
everybody, that guy. Yeah.
Yeah, that guy.
So
That's his name is that guy.
Yeah, his
so
name is
when
that
we
guy.
figured out his name, we'll come back to it. I felt like he should have been at least dual seasons. I think they got rid of him too quickly, honestly, and that seemed to be the case for a lot of the enemies or the villains of every season. It felt like they wrapped them up too quickly. We got Toph back, that was dope. We, I'm still wanting a little bit more expansion. I understand they did some in the comics, which was amazing. We even got to see Zuko's mother in the comics to an extent. It was like, yay, kind of deal. But this overall was an amazing show. It's still PG enough that you could show your kids, but the meanings behind it was so deep. Like, you can't tell me Toph meeting grandpa, like, oh, come on, was not amazing. And if you want a tearjerker, when he actually goes to pay homage to his son, who he lost in the Battle of Ba Sing Se, like, the drummer boy, I know the original actor passed away and they had another guy replace him. He does not sing that song. And if you hear that song, Little Drummer Boy, if I'm not mistaken, it's very heart touching. I'll say, I won't say heartbreaking. So
For most people, when they hear just the first few keys and they realize what it is, you can say like, "Oh, it's a song," and then they're like,
oh,
"It's a song.
It's that song.
It's a song."
It's funny. Like, I don't think everybody understood what was happening until years later on how impactful this series was. Shout out to especially General. I think General Iroh was my favorite. Shout out to M. Night for ruining the live action.
We don't talk,
No,
we don't talk
no,
about
wait, wait,
that.
wait.
We don't talk
Which is
about
crazy
The casting
because
directors broke it way before he did.
fair enough. But thank you for continuing the tradition of messing it up. It's funny because, like, I will defend him on the Glass series. You know what I'm
Right?
saying? Because I was like, this is
Right.
amazing. Stop focusing on the superheroes, more focus on the organization. But anyway, let me move on before Kat tells me something. I'm sorry. The next one. Okay, this is where I really cheated. Okay, it came to TV, and I wish it didn't. It came to Nickelodeon. It was trash. We could have used CGI, but whatever. Animorphs, okay? Animal morphers. That guy on your screen right now is the actual alien who's fighting what's called the Yerks, worms, right? They're blind, but once they get inside your ear canal, they take over your being. So you don't know who's who. So you have access to your memories and access to everything you do. They're trying to take over the world. And the Andalites, that's the thing that's in front of you, is trying to stop them. The Andalites have the power to touch you and morph into you or whatever the animal they touch. So the guy who's, believe it or not, a war hero, falls to Earth, finds these kids, gives them the cube, and they fight the alien invasion. I did not start at book 1. I started at book 5. I saw it at the Scholastic Book Fair back when we had those things,
Right.
and I ended up buying like Goosebumps or whatever because I saw Goosebumps first before I saw that. So the public library, which made a nice donation to my own library, 5-figure discount. I started with 5, and it actually started out with Marco. And I'm just gonna give you a very brief history. Marco lost his mother in a sailing accident. Her body was never retrieved or anything, and I felt that because I lost my mom too at a young age. Right? Come to find out, she's a general in the war for the aliens. Boom! I'm hooked. Boom, I'm hooked. So every book shows a particular star animal that they're gonna morph into, and you see how it works. It's Marco, it's Axe, Tobias, Rachel, Jake, Cassie. Oh my god, this is it. The Predator. I think like 54 books in total. It was amazing. Unfortunately, when they tried to transfer it onto TV, it was trash, basura. But it was a great sci-fi fantasy book. I loved it. If you have the chance, definitely read it. Let me know how you feel. As a matter of fact, if you're definitely watching this, let me know which one of my picks was your favorite. In the comments below, whatever. But this, oh my god. Oh my god. This was mwah, the chef's kiss. The chef's. I need a chef name. What's the chef name? Chef Mayhem. I don't know why I think of that. Miss Migo. That's my name.
No, not that one.
All right. And then my last pick, because I did do this. I wish Thieves and King by Mark
God.
Oakley. This, I've talked about this before, and I stand by what I said. This is an amazing series by Mark Oakley. It's hard to get to now because it's so sold out. It's so popular. If they ever bring this to the big screen, I mean, I'm gonna love it, but I'm gonna be confused as hell too, because like the way they jump back and forth with time and different dimensions, but it's so amazing. That kid you see with the little imp, he's the key to it all. I wish I could give you an accurate description. Just read it on the back. I can't. His name is Rubel, if I'm not mistaken. And the woman with the black sword right there, she has a thing for him. It's not really explained right now, or I haven't read everything, but it's an amazing fantasy book. That's all I got to say. Thank you for coming. Peace, love, and soul.
I love these picks. They were all pretty surprising. I sincerely didn't expect anyone to choose Game of Thrones for their list, but I'm here for it. I'm not shaming nobody's. We don't do that here.
Shame.
You don't do
No,
that.
we're not. Shame. We're not going to do that here. But other great picks. I love it when it's something that I haven't heard of before or that I don't know too much about. Like I knew about the Animorphs, but I didn't know that much about the Animorphs. And I'm glad that it's something that resonated with you at such a young age and has stayed with you. What?
If K.A. Applegate asked me to do an ASMR reading or just a reading of Animorphs for free,
Why?
do it.
Why even? Just read them. Make
Just
your own
do it.
podcast. Just
Do
read
it.
them.
You're right,
Do it.
Miss
Do it.
Applegate.
You can do it. Put your back into it.
Smeggle.
Right?
Smeggle.
And moving right along. Kavath the K-Man, do you have anything that you would like to say about Smeggle's choices?
They were all good.
Wow.
Yeah, I didn't really get into Animorphs back then. My head was all stuck on Ninja Turtles and Transformers, and G.I. Joe, so that's where my brain was at that time. So I didn't do the Animorphs. I never watched Game of Thrones, but from what I hear, it is really good. From the memes are fire. That's all I gotta say. The memes,
Yeah.
I know the show through memes, like literally. I'm like, cool. I haven't watched the show, but I can tell you all about the memes.
Right.
Yeah, that's how I feel about Friends. I never watched Friends, but I feel like I know enough of Friends because of all the memes I've seen.
Never watched an
I'm
episode
not
at all.
no, not in its entirety. And I
Okay.
wasn't a big TV watcher when I was younger. I was very much a book reader, but I also was never a really big fan of sitcoms. Once I had gotten out of like my teen years when it was like Family Matters and all of that stuff.
See, for me, I don't think I've ever known somebody who hasn't watched at least one episode of Friends.
I don't think I've ever
I've
seen
seen
one
episodes.
in its entirety. Like I've
That's
seen
fair.
Friends
pieces
makes
of
me watch Friends.
episodes,
Mm-hmm.
but like that Seinfeld, anything that was out at that time,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't watch in real time. I was more like either watching movies or just watching different things or reading
Fair
or
enough.
gaming because back then I was more of a gamer back then before.
Cat the Slayer.
So
it is.
next up, I would love to hear what Kavath the K-Man has as his
Ooh,
favorite pick.
You want to see what I've got? Okay.
I do.
See, I was trying to guess.
Ray
what
never
you-
saw one either.
I want to see if we were right. Do you want to guess each other's right? Oh no, because then Smeggle won't be surprised.
He won't.
I mean, it's
But
fine. We're here.
it's pretty obvious with the way
I just want to know if I'm right because I don't know. Because I thought I was sure, but I'm not 100% sure.
Oh,
Is
you're
it
right.
is it the book and the movie?
Yep.
Okay. All right, go on.
Yeah. Yeah, he's like, "What's the book?" Well, it's pretty obvious. As soon as it pops up on the screen, you're gonna know. You're gonna. They're gonna know. They're gonna know because
How will they know?
It's this one. It's right here.
Now is this when you're choosing this? Are you choosing the film series?
I'm choosing both.
Okay,
because
which is
I
fair.
watched the movies first, and then I started reading from book 4 on, which is when movie 4 came out. I'm like, oh, I watched the movies. These movies are great. And my manager at the time, she was like, here, read the book. I'm like, I don't want to read this kid's book.
What?
And now it's like 37% of my personality.
Right?
But please do go on.
Yeah, I just enjoy the Potter series. Granted, there's issues with the person that wrote the series, but that's okay. I love what she made. I love what came out from her. But yeah, I've enjoyed this series. Like I've yet to regret reading any book I've ever picked up to read. This is like at the top of, yeah, I have zero regrets for actually reading this. And yeah, it's it was so good. And granted, of course, they can't fit everything from the books in. I understand that. But man, if they could have, like the things that I read in the books and the way Fred and George in the shop and the toys and the candy and
Winky.
You know what? It's funny. If I could have this one moment to say this, and I'll back off, and I'll never say anything for the rest of the episode.
Sure.
no, don't say that.
No, go ahead. Say it. Speak your truth, little man.
Speak it.
Little, okay,
Oh,
cool.
sorry.
That's cool. Stand in your truth, okay? You said what you said. Little, okay. You know what?
Well, because the quote is little
can you-
mama, and I
you-
didn't want to call you little mama, so it ended up being
Little
little man.
man mama. Can you change my name to Lil Smeggle with Lil? And an
Lil.
apostrophe?
Lil
you.
Smeggle. Yay. Now
Can
he's a bard.
Can I tell you that when Cedric Diggory was murdered, meh, I was like,
That's fine.
And once again, it's a kid that's murdered, and I was just like, "Oh, that's bad." But anyway, what's going on with the rest of the world? I was like,
Oh, another kid. I didn't feel anything either when he died. I was just like, it sucks, but
Yeah.
he wasn't one of the main crew.
I was more upset at
Cho
death-
Chang. Oh,
a death that almost happened than I was of Cedric's death and even, spoiler, Sirius's death. And that was Mr. Weasley when he got bit by Nagini.
Yes.
And we thought that we were going to lose. In the books, they really dragged it out.
Yeah, they did.
And I was just like, not Mr. Weasley, not Mr. Weasley, not Arthur.
Right? But yeah, dude, it's so good. And if
Mhm.
you say you don't like it, I don't believe you fully. I think there's some part of it that you didn't like, and you're just holding that grudge against all of it. I don't. It's fucking Harry Potter. You're gonna love it. If you give it the right and proper chance, you're gonna love it. That's all there is to it. It's Harry freaking Potter.
Harry freaking Potter.
That's
Okay.
right.
That's right.
Right. Now for my next one. Yeah, look, these are the book. This book, I grew up reading this book. I can't help it. I can't. This is in my life. Like literally, I just got back into World of Warcraft onto one of the free servers. I literally went and made Aragorn with a pet. I made an orc hunter, and his main thing that he does is wield two-hand swords and use the things that Aragorn would use. And that's the whole reason behind my first character that I made on the server. Can't help it. It's Aragorn. Like, who doesn't want to be Aragorn? Who would not want to be Aragorn? Tell me that. What man and some women would not want to be Aragorn?
That's fair. I would love to be
Really
one of the
wouldn't.
Dunedain. Mayhem, if you knew what the Dunedain were capable of, you'd want to be one too.
Yo,
I just don't want to be a part of this series because this series seems really dark. I want to stay in the Harry Potter series because I can use a wand on myself. But okay,
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you.
Dude,
More people die in Harry Potter than do in
Right?
this series.
Right?
That we know. That we know.
that
a
we
lot
know.
of them were stupid.
Damn.
Except for Cedric Diggory, you know, but I still wasn't.
Listen. We said we weren't shaming.
Right,
we weren't
right.
shaming.
Okay. All right. No shame. All right. So yes,
Be kind. Rewind. Okay.
there we go. But yeah, the movies, dude, Peter Jackson put his foot in it. That's all there. He put his foot into it. I wish you would have had less foot in The Hobbit still, but still, he put his foot into Lord of the Rings, and it shows. I've watched this way too many times, and yeah, no. And basically, when I play D&D, there's most of my characters right there. Pick one of those three. That's how I play, right there. If it's a dwarf, guess how it's gonna get played? The way Gimli would do stuff. It's great. Like the one time they put my dwarf on the boat. Did not go well. Dwarves don't like boats. Didn't go well. But yeah, like
They're really good at short distances.
yes, they are. And like you said, it's become part of my personality. Lord of the Rings is a part of my personality. Like I will just do random things of Lord of the Rings. And literally, if anyone ever asks me to do anything, there's two responses that you're guaranteed to get. Either Bonesaw is ready from the first Spider-Man movie, or end my axe. Literally, that's it. So are you ready? It's like, I need help. End my axe. And they're like,
And my
oh,
bow.
okay, Reggie's in. Cool, let's go. But yeah, it's part of my personality. I can't help it. I watch the movies, I read the books, I enjoy it all. Like, it's just, yeah, it's Lord of the Rings. It is
Okay.
so good. This
Straight
is,
up.
for me, this is my pinnacle
That's the
of,
mic drop right there.
yeah, this is my pinnacle of fantasy right here. This is what all other fantasy is held up against. Like, let me see how you do against this. All right,
It is
cool.
so hard to have anything surpass this because this is sincerely the original.
This is true. This is where
So much fantasy has races that are based on here and this book.
Right.
The way wizards are, the way elves are, the way orcs and goblins. They are directly inspired by these works,
They are, and it's
and all because of a man who had a love for ancient languages.
and the woman. He's like, man, you dance really good. I'm gonna make a character about that. And
Oh,
hey,
yeah.
look at that. We got a great series out of it.
We got the Silmarillion and
That's right.
so on and so forth.
Exactly, and it's just I've talked about this. This is what, my third time talking
I
about.
know,
Lord
and
of
we
the
were just
Rings. I'm like,
talking about it like ad nauseum last week, but there's still so much to say.
There is. It's just it shaped most of what I like because of this. There's D&D and I love RPG games, like open world RPGs are that's my shit. That's my
And
jam.
even like the idea of campaigns where you
Right.
have your whole group there,
Exactly.
and,
This
and
is
the different roles that they play.
this is my jam.
Mhm.
And then my third one, it's a bit newer. It's not as surprising, but I love it all the same. I still need to finish all of the third season, but it is Love, Death, and
Love,
Robots.
Death, and Robots.
Yeah, okay.
So great. I don't know if I would
Yes.
consider this fantasy though. I
There
think
are
it
some
still
parts
falls
that
into
are.
there are
It-
some episodes that lean towards fantasy.
Yeah.
It has that sci-fi fantasy element, and that's why I
That
like it.
the last episode of the second season with the river girl.
The
And
one
that was
the
completely
Conquistador-
covered in Julie. Yeah,
Oh,
with the
yeah.
Conquistador. Yes. Thank you. Where
Sure,
the guy was deaf.
Yeah. See, I was thinking of the one with the werewolves from like I think season 1.
right the
Also,
out in Afghanistan.
true.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Actually, one
where'd
of my
you-
favorite is the little fox girl that grows up as a spirit and then
Yeah.
turns into a robot. That
Mhm.
bruh, she's like, I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna get my revenge, and she got it, and she dipped out, and I'm like, get your revenge, girl. Get it. Get it.
I love death, and robot, love, sex, and robots. Excuse me, love, sex, and
Love, Death, and Robots.
Love,
Love,
Death,
Death,
and Robots.
whichever one. It kind of reminds me of
Not the Pornhub version that clearly
not that
you
one.
found.
What's it? I think I found the wrong version, but I'm not gonna stop watching.
it's a heavy metal affiliate. If you know
Oh,
what I'm
that
talking
was a
about.
great episode.
Yes, dude.
Yes.
I'm like, bruh. I'm like,
The
I was
second season was better, I
shit.
think.
You think
It
so?
was.
I do.
Yeah,
I
dude,
think
the
the
second
second
season
was
had
better.
some
Or
better.
the third
hits.
season. I'm sorry. The most recent season was the best one to
Oh,
me.
third.
Yeah.
Okay. I enjoyed the second so far, but dude, I was rooting so hard for this AI, so hard. I'm like, bruh. And I love her character and the person that plays her because I met her through watching Orange Is the New Black. So sadly, anytime I see this actress, all I can think is, oh, it's Poussey. And that's the only name that can come to my mind because that's how I met her. Was on Orange Is the New Black, and dude, even in the sci-fi series, in the shorts, like the one where the guy is stuck in the time loop but doesn't realize it.
Oh.
Like, even though I'm like, there's so many fantasy elements that they've just dropped right into their sci-fi, and that's how I like my sci-fi, with a little bit of fantasy right there.
And there's a reason why that genre is always combined because they kind of lean into each other.
Yeah.
It's like
100%.
they can borrow from each other, and it's just I just enjoyed this series so much. It's just and like this episode, my goodness, I'm gonna go through life, and this is what I'm gonna do. I'm a pool cleaning robot. Cool. I am the greatest thing the universe has ever. I'm a pool cleaning robot. Cool. Thanks. I'm like, what?
I'm sorry. I think season 1 is the best. Like, if you watch season 3 is amazing, and I think it's better than season 2. In fact, I put 1, 3, and 2 in that order. But that's just me, and it's not just how some seasons hit you. It's that initial hit and
Yeah.
nostalgia. But if you look at not the character, the story designs and how they put all I think the great stories in the first season. I don't know, man. I mean, it's tough, but I think it beats season 3.
Okay, okay. And then another thing that I love about this one, and this will also tie into You
Okay.
Mayhem.
Uh-oh.
When they released Seer on Apex, this is the artist that did the artwork for that season.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So anytime you look at Seer's like his single shots, and it looks, where the one where he's just up there in the middle of the ring and like got his arms up, he's just posing. There's a reason that he kind of sort of looks like this character.
Amazing. Okay. All right. So now I got to look at it now.
Yes, yes, you do.
I didn't know that.
Yes. And so
Mhm.
now we go to my honorable mentions, and this is where my name comes from, because I blame my best friend Steven for getting me hooked on a book series that was not finished, and it's been 11 years since the last book came out, and I read this book 5 years ago.
Oh, I already know what you're talking about now. Go ahead.
Damn you, Steven.
It's The Name of the Wind.
I have
The
his
King
books
Killer.
in my closet right now.
I am so mad at Patrick Rothfuss. I'm like, sir, stop working on the TV show. Stop trying to make a movie. I need my third book. You left me on a cliffhanger. The dudes have invaded the bar. They're having a fight in the bar, and then the book ends. And I'm like, what happened?
Well,
Like,
he and the writer of A Song of Ice and Fire need to lock themselves up into a room
right.
and get
And
to work.
right. I
Finish what
need
you started.
right. I need this third book. I need the third book. Like, that's all there is to it. You can't introduce me to all these awesome characters. Like, boom, this was going on. Leave me on the cliffhanger of he's getting robbed in his bar as an adult while telling the stories of his childhood, and then just stop.
Okay.
You can't do that.
It literally is like the screen goes black and then
Yes.
it's done. You're
And
like,
then it's done.
but
like,
the thing is, his book, like a lot of books, you still think you have a lot of book left because there's
Right.
this many papers. But
Right?
they're all bullshit. They're all bullshit.
It was so much. I'm like,
I don't care about any of this.
exactly. I'm like, no, wait.
Here.
Okay, so he met the Fae and he did the thing. No, I need more of what happens after he met the Fae and they get in the bar. And literally, cool, he got out from doing this thing with the Fae. He's now a grown-up man. In that story, hey, they're in the bar. They're getting robbed. And stop.
And
What?
here, please enjoy 12 pages of nonsense.
Right. I'm like, sir, you can't, sir. It's like, I'm sorry. One of my favorite skit makers is a young lady named Lionese, and she does these voiceovers of like Jamaican people doing different things. And the one that's always is like, sir, you cannot do it, sir. And
Wear
that's how I
clothes.
feel. That's how I feel. I'm like, sir, you can't do this to.
I want to be that kind of writer where it's like, I hope you enjoyed the book. We're finished here. Please enjoy
Right.
the next 36 pages of BS.
Right? It's like, you can't
Like, I
do
want to
that.
write that on a page before you.
See, if you've ever read the Princess Bride book, he kind of tells you, like, when you're getting close to the end, he's like, after this is going to be a bunch of other stuff that you can either read or not. I'm not your mom. Like, basically, like that. Like, do that. At least then I know.
Right?
But don't just stop.
But that's what they do. That's what they do. They're so mean about it. But yes, I need that to finish, and then I need it to be turned into the TV series that they're trying to make it into. Finish it, then TV series. Thank you.
Good luck. I hope it works out for you.
And I said what I said.
That's right. All right, I'm done, ma'am. Are you ready?
Those are excellent, excellent choices. I am ready.
All right, just to let you know, I did pad your stats in your resume for you.
Thank you.
You like to
I knew
skip
you would.
people? I'm
Well,
like, all
because
right, I got
to me,
one I
it's
can go
like,
with.
okay, we only have so much time. I don't want to bog it down. One picture will do while we talk about it. And then everybody else has like 15 pictures. And I'm like, oh, okay.
It's okay. Look, whoever sends me just one picture, I make sure I pad the resumes.
You did. You do.
I do
Thank
my
you.
thing.
But if you'd like me to have a minimum of photos, please let me know and I will definitely get you what you need.
Okay,
But
just three, just three.
You
now
said it
we get to
3.
see my repeats and my news. So please roll that clip for me.
There's a
Roll that
clip.
footage. Hey, look at that.
For
Ooh.
best book series, I picked Harry Potter. I love the movies. I sincerely do, but the books are what I always go back to. If I want to read something, but I don't want to get started on a new story, these are my familiar friends. I am a hardcover snob. Like I always prefer to have the hardcover over a paperback.
Mine are
These
first
books,
editions.
the bindings are destroyed. Whatever page I lay it down on, it just lays flat. It doesn't fight me anymore. I've read these books so often. And sometimes I just want to read a particular passage. So I'll just let the book lie where it lies and start right there just because I want to go back into that world.
It's like a Bible. It's like your religious text. Like I
No,
don't need to
it's
hurry.
a
I just like
challenge reading.
it'll
As
show
I
me
got
where to go.
older, and I became a mother, I didn't have time as much time to read or to explore new things. So I didn't know about the Harry Potter series. Not to mention, I think I was a little bit older than the target audience when these books initially came out. So I ended up seeing the first film, which I was all about because, hey, it's a wizarding school. I watched The Worst Witch as a kid in, on HBO. Yes, Smeggle.
Smeggle wants to know what's your favorite. When you're done, please let me know what's your favorite book.
Favorite
Ooh.
book of the series?
Yes.
Okay, absolutely. The Prisoner of
Smeggle.
Azkaban. And so I watched Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, and then I was like, oh, since these books are so popular that they're making an entire film series of it, I want to start reading these books. So by the time the Chamber of Secrets had come out, I had read all the books that were available up to that point, which wasn't all of them. And I remember the like, I try not to do spoilers and how I would avoid. It was like the Matrix, trying to avoid spoilers as these books came out, and the Deathly Hallows came out on a Friday, I believe, and I got it on Friday, and I had it finished by Saturday morning. Now I may be off by a day because I may have gotten it Saturday and I had it done, but basically by the next morning, the book I had not
Yep.
slept a wink because I needed to get through this book, and my passion for that has not ended. Now, as we all know, as years have gone by, the author has really put themselves in a really bad light, in a
Hmm.
way that I can no longer support anything that's licensed directly. Like I'll buy secondhand or I'll buy from Etsy stores and stuff where I'm paying for a small business, but I will not support the author themselves because I'm not about that life. However, separating that from what these books are and what they've meant not only to me but to millions of people around the world,
Mhm.
um, it's the stories themselves, and it's so hard sometimes to be able to like, how did someone who feels this way write this and build this beautiful world? But then you learn that they've actually taken a lot of inspiration from a lot of different things, and there are some things that are a little bit too close to have been original ideas, but still the world that they have built, the magic they continue to bring
Mhm.
to people, the books themselves, the stories themselves, um, I can't ever not love them for that, for what they've meant to me and what they've meant to so many other people. And I don't know if you heard me already. My favorite book of the series is The Prisoner of Azkaban. Although I have to say Deathly Hallows had me shattered and in tears by the end.
Fair. Mine was the Goblet of Fire.
I think the Goblet of Fire book is freaking amazing, and it was probably the one that I was most upset with the movie adaptation of.
Oh. Mhm.
They left out so much. They left
They
out,
did.
Ludo Bagman, that secondary story with the goblins and the Weasleys, and the whole, like, gambling betting aspect. Barty Crouch's, house elf Tinky Winky. Winky?
Tinky.
I think it
Tiny
was
Winky?
Winky. I think it was Winky.
So,
'Cause I thought that story was also really important in developing the whole house elf sub story that was going on and explaining why, Hermione
felt the way she
Had
did.
that whole group where she was knitting the hats and Dobby was wearing 23 hats because none of the other house elves would take a hat. But anyway,
Mhm.
a fantastic series that I don't think will ever come a time where I won't self-identify as well. I did take the Pottermore quiz, so I am a Hufflepuff. I know what my Patronus is. I know what my wand is made of and how long it is and how pliable and why everything means the way that it means. I know the whole lore. That's how deep I went into this.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you. Expecto Patronum or Patron. Um, which one was the one with the Whomping Willow? I forget which book
That
had
was
the
the
That would be
first.
Prisoner of Azkaban.
prisoner.
Yeah.
Well, Chamber of Secrets. It's in Chamber. You first see it in the Sorcerer's Stone, but then the
Prison.
car crashes into it in Chamber of Secrets, and then it's featured in the Prisoner of Azkaban as where they go under when they meet Sirius and realize who Peter Pettigrew and all that.
I knew I wasn't crazy when I was like, I kind of feel like it was in 3 books. But in the Chamber of Secrets, right? That movie was probably my worst Harry Potter movie experience ever. Because I don't know if you guys remember, that's when 3D was coming out and they used to give you those weird glasses.
Oh yeah.
Every now and again, you get the really good ones, the blue ones that fit your ears really good and it like balanced it. They gave you 15 minutes of 3D, and that was it. That
I
was it.
saw I
In
saw
the beginning.
Deathly Hallows. I went to the midnight showing the night it opened. There was a line down the parking lot and somebody came outside and said, "If you do not already have a ticket, get out of line because we ain't got nothing for you." And then they did a whole speech when we were in there telling us like if you make any noise, like people are here, they're like serious fans. If you make any noise, if you are disruptive in any way, you are immediately being ejected. Like no second chances, no nothing, you're out. And I still have the 3D glasses that they handed out for that showing, which were Harry Potter glasses. They were the rounds,
Okay,
the
that
Ooh.
round
is
glasses. I still
amazing.
have them somewhere in my
I
little
love when theaters do
in
that.
a
That
bit.
was
Yeah, it was
Right.
a
amazing.
lot of fun. But that is definitely my favorite fantasy book series. Even though there are ones that I think sincerely are better stories, these are the ones that I keep going back to read over and over and over again. And I can't say that about any of the other ones that I would have considered. Not Dune, not anything else. So that's it for my book pick. Next we have
More Harry Potter.
no. Well, yeah, you did have one more picture. My favorite fantasy TV series. Now, Witcher was right even with Xena for me for a long time, but what
Okay.
pushed it over to me is that Xena was really the first of its kind.
Did
Um, we had Hercules. She was a spin-off of Hercules, and I don't think anyone expected it to blow up the way that it did. But Lucy Lawless, her acting and her relationship with
Mhm.
Gabrielle and how it went over the years and having Bruce Campbell in there and Joxer the Mighty and just the
So
characters, the stories,
jeez,
you
man.
laughed, you cried, you got hyped up for things. The musical episode, you fell in love with her the more the seasons went. And even towards the end where it felt like they were kind of running out of things to talk about, it still was so progressive for its time and so beautifully done. And the reason why I showed this picture as opposed to the one that we normally get of her in her battle uniform and the her whatever that round thing is called that she and throws.
Oh, the disc.
Yeah, the discus thing. Um
The chakra.
thank
Yeah,
you.
that.
This is showing her in a more, I don't know how to say this. It's almost like a Wonder Woman thing to me where she's got that armor that's custom built to her body. You see the strength in her, you see the wisdom, you see the compassion, and you see almost like the weight of what she carries on her shoulders, which they don't normally show in posters for this series. They try to keep it to the action and the light, and also the sexual undertones between her and Gabrielle and whoever else, and not to mention between Ares. Not and also this is where we got Carl Urban for the first time for a lot of American audiences, and big yay for that because he's freaking awesome too. But yeah, that's why I picked her as my film series. Again, really progressive for the time, really beautifully done. The relationship between all of these women, which you did not see like that, and
Mhm.
in a time in like the late 90s, mid to late 90s, where it wasn't just all sexual. The writing was really good. The
Yeah.
stories were really fresh. And it wasn't just like, oh, let's see how naked she can get and every it wasn't about that. It was sincerely and truly a story that I'm so glad that I was at an age where it hit me the way that it did. And that's why I went with our Lord and Savior, Lucy Lawless.
I will say this. I agree with everything you said. She did have a little fling with Kevin Sorbo, Hercules. I was like, that was nice, but I really liked her. I was a big fan of Hercules, but I liked her watching Lucy Lawless as a Xena warrior princess fighting. The ululating that she does, like war cry.
Yeah.
Well, that's legit a thing, and she brought that to the that wasn't in the script. She brought that to them, and they left it there, and it's like really really close to like authentic warriors. So I was
And
like,
when she
yes.
sang for the episode where it was a funeral,
Oh
it
yeah.
was heartbreaking beautiful. Rayanne, it's on Tubi TV. You can watch it for free. Just letting you know. Woman to woman.
Am I allowed to
Uh,
watch
yes, absolutely. Anyone can watch it. But even for the like, and this is a show that you can watch now. And yes, we have advanced as far as like TV, like production value and stuff, but the story still hold up. The character still up. The
Yeah.
humor still holds up. And just even now, you still don't see women driven shows like this now. So this will always be a highlight for me, getting to see this and how that relationship with Gabrielle developed.
it? And
Was
that's
that
the
one?
picture.
That one was for me.
Yeah, yeah. I'm like, well, this was for everybody because you don't get to see her in that samurai get up very often because there's like what 2, 3 episodes. I'm like,
But
oh,
even
there's
how
that.
respectful they were about other cultures when they went into different cultures. It wasn't all like stereotype stuff. They
Yeah.
really cared about what they were putting out at a time where the people weren't caring about it. So yeah, Xena absolutely number one for me. Oh,
That and this one also became a meme. So I'm like, I got to put the meme picture in there.
yeah, the wasn't there one with like John Cena?
Ooh.
It started with her, but it ended up with John Cena. Yes, it's
Yeah,
just
I remember the John Cena version.
yeah.
Anyway, moving on.
And back to where we always end up.
So for the film, I was very, very specific because it is the Two Towers for me. I think all three of them are epic, epic films. However, the Two Towers were right in the middle of the story and we're really moving along. We get to see the Ents battle with Saruman, and that scene alone is amazing. I love everything that happens between them and Pippin and Mary. And also, this is where you see the battle at Helm's Deep, the elves coming to help and fight, and then look to the sunrise on the fifth day. And there's Gandalf all in white on his white horse. And he's like, the Theoden king stands alone. And then here comes Carl Urban
Yet
as
again.
Eomer saying, the king is not alone. Rohirrim to the king, and that scene, that music, the lights, the score, the way that they came down that mountain, the way that the orcs were looking up and getting blinded. You tell me that isn't a cinematic motherfucking masterpiece. Masterpiece.
I think she likes that scene. I don't know about you. I think she likes that scene.
I think she has
That's
There
what
some
I'm
strong
picking up
feelings.
on.
I think she has some
So I
strong
have a
feelings.
projector downstairs in the living room, and every time I watch, well, I don't want to say every time because I do watch it up in my room on a much smaller TV, but when I get to watch it there, even though I've seen this scene, I can't even tell you how many times I still get chills. My eyes still well up sometimes when I watch it because it really is just that freaking beautiful. Especially how everyone plays that battle weariness as it was coming. Why is Toriel here? Why is he here?
Oh, sorry, sorry. I'm like, hey, the
Sir,
lady. I'm like,
I
the
did
ladies need some
I did not
shine.
I did not author like I'm covering it up on my tablet like it's gonna cover.
Sorry.
Wow.
I have nothing against the actress and I have nothing against the character, but we are talking about the Two Towers and one of these things is not like the others.
One
Okay.
of
Yeah,
these things
I
doesn't
just went
belong
and
here.
grabbed a picture of the ladies of the Lord of the Rings. I'm like, we need to put some shine on them.
Not
I'm
to
like, oh,
mention,
she's there, but she's not.
as
Yeah.
you say, put some shine because we got to see these three women battling it out in their own way. Eowyn, I know this happens in Return of the King, but the whole "I am no man." strong, beautiful character. When she held on to the Theoden King, that's one of my favorite scenes too. When they show up at Rohan and they release him from the spell, and you see him like come back to himself, and there she is to catch him, and he's like, "I know your face," and then you get that repeated in the Return of the King when she slays. I just, it's a
Mm.
cinematic masterpiece. It's a masterpiece, a masterpiece.
I agree. I think after you explaining it that way and maybe hearing it in that way, I think I agree with you. Yes, a
Oh look,
cinematic masterpiece.
it is a cinematic masterpiece. Saruman and Grima Wormtongue.
Wormtongue.
Let me tell you, that actor is really good because I hated him.
Right?
Straight up hated him.
Right? But that he
Not
did
even
his part.
Saruman, because we can't hate Christopher Lee. That's just not, we can't do that. But Grimmer Wormtongue, hell yeah.
I mean, I'll hate him for you.
This is my honorable mention because
Oh.
it's Kroll.
It's Kroll. It's Kroll.
Kroll.
It's Kroll. It's
Kroll.
got the juice. Oh God, I'm gonna get her started all night.
It's Kroll.
No, she's been doing this all off and on all day, and I just realized I just did it again.
It's got the juice. It's got the juice.
Yeah, she's all about that. She's about to say something about it.
But anyway, Kroll is also, I think, a cinematic masterpiece from the 80s. Look at Liam Neeson. Look at Robbie
Right?
Coltrane. They're
Right?
like sweet babies in this movie.
You,
And-
like it is until I was an adult, I didn't realize it. And then I was looking at this picture, I was like, "Oh my God, that's
Yeah.
Liam Neeson."
Yeah. And he plays such a rogue so well. Like he just this
does.
cavalier little this roguish thief. He plays it so well. I love this film for so many reasons. I was obsessed with Alyssa. I loved her hair. I loved her clothes. I thought she was the most beautiful woman in the world. I wanted to be her. Prince Colwyn was love goals. That how secure they were in their love for each other, but it was not overplayed. It's not hokey. You feel it. You get it. They have great chemistry. Even the Beast, the way that he interacted with Alyssa and everything, like I was all in, fully bought it. The humor still holds up. It's a fun 80s cheesy high fantasy film that weapon makes no goddamn sense, but still.
No sense whatsoever. None. You're more than likely to cut your own wrist off trying to
One of
throw
the
that
most inept wizards you have ever met in your entire goddamn life.
right.
But
Dude,
it
he was
worked.
worse. But he was worse than the wizard in the D&D cartoon. And dude, Presto was bad.
He was worse than the wizard in the last unicorn animated film of the 1980s, which there were so many movies that I wanted to put as an honorable mention. And I was like, no, you have to pick just one. I had Labyrinth. I had The Last Unicorn. I had Legends. Like, because there's so many that came out in that pocket of 80s. And Legend was a really high contender because, of course, the ineffable Tim Curry. But it also had with Tom Cruise in it, so I can't get behind that fully. So
but it's pre-crazy Tom Cruise. It wasn't until after Top Gun that we lost Tom Cruise.
I'm just gonna say, Tom Cruise, if you ever listen to this, hi.
Why?
I don't think you're crazy, but I would like to talk to you not about Scientology. Just about certain things like you doing your stunts
you see, my thing with Tom Cruise isn't even so much about his religion and all that entails. That's something separate. This is like separating the art from the artist. But there's just something about everything that he's in that you are always fully aware that it's Tom Cruise. And to me,
except Tropic Thunder.
I never watched Tropic Thunder, so I can't speak on that one.
We'll be back after this commercial. We gotta cut. You know what?
But anyway, and I just personally don't. If I'm watching something, but I'm never so deep into the story that you're the character and not the actor that's playing the character, that I can never get fully invested in the story. You said it, I didn't, but you're right. So that is my honorable mention for best film, just because I had to put something nostalgic in there, and Kroll is something that I sincerely get excited about every time I see that it's airing. If I'm swimming like, Pluto TV or Tubi and I see it, I have to click on it. I have to watch it.
Fair.
Right, dude. When they were busting open their heads when I was a kid, that was like the creepiest thing. When the things would just come screaming out, I was like,
Yes.
"What is going on here?
What
Oh
is
my
this?
god!"
And
It's
also the Cyclops, where they traded an eye for the ability to see the future, but it was a
future,
very monkey's paw thing because the only future that they can see is their own death.
right? I'm like, bruh. Even as a kid, I'm like, that's deep. That is
But
deep.
it has made, and it like the whole monkey's paw, but it made them better people because they knew
Mhm.
that their death was inevitable. They knew when it was coming, but they still pushed forward and
Yeah.
did everything that that they could do to help other people along the way, or just to be good people along the way, even though they already knew no matter what they did, it wasn't going to change the outcome of
Right.
their life. So they could have
And it
been as
made them
good or as bad as they wanted to be. It was not going to change the outcome of their death. And they
right,
decided to go good as opposed to
right.
bad.
That was one of the best things ever.
Yeah, that's a very, very, and it's one of those things that you don't notice as a kid, but you kind of, the more you think on it as an adult, where you're like, oh, shit, that's a lot deeper than I was thinking.
Right.
But, and now finally, the thing that has not been made into a thing that I would love to be made to be into a thing. There is an American author called David Eddings. He and his wife, another one that was a husband and wife team, just like Tolkien. He is an epic fantasy novel writer, and he
Okay.
wrote, it's a specific series called the Belgariad, the Malorian, the Elenium, and the Tumuli. There's 27 books in this series, but it's broken up into groups of 5. And I cannot speak to enough. He is
It doesn't math. It stop. It does not math, sir. Stop.
what? What are you
He's
mathing?
trying to do the math. You said 27 books and there's 5 groupings, and
Well,
he's like,
it's
"Wait a
well,
second."
because there's other books that are like addendums to the series that are not within those groups of 5.
I was on my way to looking it up. It seemed I was grouped, but okay. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, it's fine. So the Belgariad is the first of the series. It's a 5-book series, and
Mhm.
it's this all stars of this boy named Garion, um, that are on a quest to get a sacred stone, and the people they meet along the way, and how he becomes a wizard and kind of a knight, and it to me it feels like very early D&D campaigns.
Mhm.
But how the way that they do their lore, like as he's learning magic, there's a civil war happening and they're assigned to certain territories, so they send him off to take care of it. And so he decides the best thing to do is to whip up a storm to save himself time. But then the next time he sees his mentors, they're like, you dummy, you starting this storm here created a ripple effect that affected the entire world. So they've been traveling all over the world, pulling out hurricanes and floods and monsoons and things because of this one little rainstorm that he put. So you see like this ripple effect of how the magic actually touches other things.
Right.
There's a lot of humor in it. There are love stories, there's action, there's painful deaths and really sad things and moments of triumph and stuff. And it was one of the very first fantasy series that I ever met. Shout out to my cousin John in New Jersey for letting me read his books when I was bored at his parents' house. And that's what got me reading these. And I think was really what started me in on fantasy as a genre in general. But I cannot recommend this series enough. I think this would be fantastic as a series on one of the major networks, or one of the major streaming ones, giants like Netflix, Prime, Hulu, whatever. I just
Someone needs to make it.
somebody definitely needs to make
Someone
it.
needs
And
to
I
make
and I sincerely think that if you gentlemen have not read it, that you sincerely would love it. There's this one book, The Sorceress of Darshiva. You see it at the bottom right, the second one in from the bottom. Her skin actually has like what looks like celestial, like stars and stuff, like right under the skin.
Mhm.
And in the book cover, which is not this one, the book cover that I had was a hardcover, so of course it was slightly different. You can actually see it through the end. I just thought it was so beautiful and majestic, and it was really like impactful visually to me as a child. I wanted to be here, even though she's not a good person. She's actually one of the villains, but she looked so powerful and beautiful
Mhm.
and exotic that I wanted to look like that and kind of look like a Morticia Adams, which I'm 100% here for. So anyway, that's my final pick.
Solid picks all around. Solid picks all around.
Thank you so much. Is there anything that any of you would like to add before we wrap this up?
Cedric Diggory,
Mhm.
meh.
Well, you read the book, right?
You know it. As soon as he
Less
said,
less meh in the book. Less meh in the book.
I will give you that. I will give you that.
But I do have to say that the actor that they picked to play his father, I think his name was Amos, right? Amos Diggory was Cedric's dad.
Sounds correct. Yes.
When they
That's my boy.
Yeah, when he was sobbing at his body, I felt that. He put his whole Amosy into that.
Okay. Do you? Okay, this is where I get
You cannot
disrespectful.
give me that face when he has his name that's literally Smeagol and Smegma mixed
I gave
together.
him his crap for that. I've given him his crap for that. So you know, I'm sorry.
Does anybody remember who killed Cedric Diggory? Was it one of the ladies, the lady Death Eaters? I can't remember.
No, it was Peter Pettigrew.
Yeah, it's Peter.
It was Peter.
Yeah,
he
he said, "Kill the spare," and you see
Was it in a book like that too?
that. I don't remember.
I don't think it was in a book like
I
that.
I don't know that it's specified in the book who it was.
I want that wand. All right. So anyway, we're gonna go. I want that wand.
Well, if that's it, then this is it. This is the very last few minutes of our fantasy month. My favorite month so far.
We'll be back. We'll have plenty of fantasy. We've got horror month coming up, in that
We
way.
do. We have Halloween month coming up, a whole month of horror and horror adjacent things, Halloween things.
and we got a special treat for everyone that's going to
special,
watch.
Yeah, special guest will be joining us.
Right.
So if you've stuck around this long, thank you so much, and we hope to see you next week. This has been Four Letter Nerd, a Hyro Geekix Unlimited production. Once again, shout out to Lil Smeggle and K-Man for once again joining me and entertaining my weirdness. Be blessed, my friends. And if you are the kind, read a book. One of these.
Read more than one book.
Read all the
several.
books.
Read
At the same time, backwards.
Read the Goblet of Fire.
There will be a test.
I'm going to fail. Good night, everybody. We out.
Bye.
Good night.